Okay, we're live.
Oh, great. Well, this is a meeting of the Oconee Rivers Greenway Commission for November the 17th. And we will start our call to order with a question to you, Alex. Have we had any public comments come in this month?
Not for the meeting.
Okay. All right. Diane did a great job on the minutes. I really appreciate, as usual, her work. Do we have any comments on the minutes from October?
I move to accept. I think they're absolutely excellent. Diane that does them. Is it Diane Wyndham that does them?
Yes.
They're excellent. I move to accept.
Okay.
I second.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
Aye, Mac.
Mac. Great. I got you, Mac. Thank you. Any other comments or questions about the minutes? If not, will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Likewise? Then we'll accept the minutes. Let's see. Some of the things that I'll comment on. One is Carr Creek easement for the Greenway status along Carr Creek. And we did a letter of support for that in October. And the mayor and commission approved it. And so that area between Carriage Lane and the river along Carr Creek will now be part of the county's property through the Green Space Program and include a connector trail. Let's see. Our two upcoming vacancies, that letter was sent to the mayor and commission advising them that we're recommending Carly Evans and Charlie Barrow to be members of the commission. And that is on their agenda setting agenda for tonight. And so they will vote on it next month at the December meeting, the first Tuesday in December. Let's see. The draft trail network plan has had public involvement, and they'll run through at least the 19th. Is that being extended, Alex?
Yeah, it runs through the 29th,
29th.
midnight, 11:59 of the 29th.
Okay. Great. And have you how much involvement have you had from the public?
We're not going to touch it till the end. We don't want it to. We don't want to mess with it yet.
Okay. Okay. Some of us attended the Georgia Trail Summit that our group donated $1,000 to, and that we got recognition for that. Let's see, we got 4 positions as part of that, and Scott and Jennifer and Diane attended, and I did too, attended online. And well, let me ask Scott or Jennifer or Diane, do you want to describe your feelings about the Georgia Trail Summit, how it went for you? If not,
it was nice that it was broken up into 2 days virtually. I was able to sort of check in with a lot of the I think I saw all the presentations, the ones that I could. I really liked the one where they were talking about the 100-mile one that went through, I guess it was the Chattahoochee River. That was very extensive, and a lot of good information there.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good speakers. There was a focus on a number of things there several people talked about COVID and how valuable trails and green spaces have become during the COVID crisis. That it it has had some issues for operations in terms of many facilities being closed originally, but more and more have been open because the value of that open space, I think, is appreciated more. There was a reference to the Chattahoochee Riverlands program, which apparently is hooking up a number of different Greenway trails in the North Atlanta area. And there's a lot of programs going on through Trust of Public Lands through their Atlanta office. It's very impressive. Let's see. There was quite a bit of talk about environmental justice issues, displacement concerns. So a real emphasis on affordable housing needs to be factored into new trail areas. And there was a real pitch for integrated income rather than separation by income in neighborhoods. One speaker talked about how successful public ballots have been for conservation areas and trail development, and that it's overcome the party divide. Memorably, he said it's the only place you can take red and blue and mix them together and get green. So I thought that was a good way of putting it. Anyway, it was a good function that we really appreciated and enjoyed. So keep that in mind for future years. Let's see. I just want to remind everyone we have our elections of officers coming up at the December meeting, and there'll be at least 2 vacancies. One will be my position as chair, and the other will be Derek's position as treasurer. So keep that in mind, and we will be going into that in more detail next month.
Can I say something, Nat?
Please.
So just in case anyone is expecting that I will run for chair, I am not going to do that. I have 2/3 of an office, and I just don't have time to give the position the attention that it would deserve. So if you're thinking about it, by all means, go for it.
And I'll just go ahead and talk about something that came out informally at our last executive meeting was a discussion of potential for Ross to take over the leadership position. Ross is new to our organization, but he has great experience in the past in his work in Florida. And I think with some assistance from us, that he could do a very good job at that. But I won't go any further than that, than to say I'll be nominating Ross in December meeting. But if anyone else is interested in the leadership position, please let me know. We'll put you on the ballot too. Any other comments or questions? Let's move on to Treasurer's report. Derek? Derek, you may be muted.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Sorry. We have still $10,000, $10,692.63. And I know, Nat, I promised you last month a write down of all the expenses we spent. I just haven't got through categorizing them in our little categories yet. It's on my to-do list. Okay. And I promise I will start working on it. If not this evening, sometime in the next week.
I appreciate it. That would be good. Any questions or comments in terms of budget? All right, moving along. Committee reports, communications and outreach. Jake.
Okay, so we had our sign cleaning fiesta on Saturday. We had 5 people total, which, you know, it's not a lot of people, but they were enthusiasts. And we cleaned all of the signs on the Greenway trail from Sandy Creek down to College Avenue.
All right.
Discovered in the process that all of the benches and picnic tables are absolutely filthy, to the extent that we did not have enough soap and water to clean them. So that's a project for the future. But I think that we will pick the next segment for the second Saturday in December, and do that again. And you know, we can have a maximum of 10 people, and that includes the parks, Morgan, whoever the parks person is. Leisure services person is, and me. So really only 8 people. The other thing that has to be resolved, and Mike is on here. So Mike, I've got a hold of you and you can't squirrel away. So the MLK Day applications are due tomorrow. And we would like to do something. And it's tricky because of the restrictions, the COVID-based restrictions and the glyphosate-based restrictions. So I was hoping that Mike could brainstorm something possibly that needs to be done in the future grant footprint area that would be good for volunteer labor. And we can, you know, take it offline, but also the application's due tomorrow, and they'll probably let me turn it in late. And Cecile said I can submit extremely general events, but I want to make sure that there's something that we can do under these, you know, trying circumstances.
Let me ask Alex a question. Alex, are you going to give an update on the glyphosate situation?
As far as I know, unchanged from Leisure Services. So if it's within a restoration zone that you've got a plan on already under your program, it's fine. But you know, not outside of those zones right now.
Okay, because I do know the attorneys replied. So basically, Jake, if you want to do a invasive plant removal, we would be more than happy to see if I can't get one of the contract labor folks to provide training and materials, coordinate materials. They typically limit it right now to about 10 people in an effort to keep social distancing in place. So we would be able to probably accommodate that on that day, maybe even 2 groups if both of them can work on that day. So we'd be delighted to work in the Dudley Park area removing invasive plants. That would be fantastic.
Okay, so it would be 2 groups, but we're not sure whether it could be 2 groups, which would be a total of 20 people, not including including your project leader people.
Right.
So to clarify, we have always, with Rivers Alive and with our volunteer days, the staff members do not count. So it really should be Morgan should not count and Mike's contractor should not count.
Okay. Well, she didn't ask to count. I was just counting her because I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's how it works for programs too. 10 participants plus instructors. But yes, 2 isolated groups, 3 isolated groups. As long as they're isolated geographically and at all times, that's fine. So, you know, this group's on this side of the river, this group's on this side of the river, up MLK, and I mean that's all good. Rivers Alive had 20 something groups, but they were all limited to 10.
Yeah. So. But Mike, they have to be led by your certified people. Like, let me one.
Well, yeah, that would be good. They don't have to be if you have, but it would depend on who you are proposing would be the person in charge.
It would be me.
Yeah, no, if you wanted to leave them, Jake, I think that would work as well.
All right. Well, maybe we'll cap it at 30, and if we get that many, then
Well, let me rephrase that too, because there's also I just remembered that they are proposing a Rock and Shoals work day. So I know at least one of my staff will probably be there.
Okay.
Working with that group. So they had a group wanting to do Rock and Shoals.
And that's a group of 10?
And that'll be one of the leaders would be out there. And I'll check with the other. I'll send an email, a text message out when I get through here real quickly, and I'll send one out and see if they'll respond before the meeting's over.
Okay. All right.
And what's the date? Is it the 13th or the?
I think it's the 17th.
Is it January 17th?
Hold on. My calendar's not moving. 18th.
18th. Okay. Perfect.
All right. I think that's everything for communications. Sorry to hijack the general meeting, but that was we had a deadline of tomorrow, so I'm unrepentant.
Oh, good. I should voice appreciation of the work you guys did on the signs, by the way. Helen and I walked the trail yesterday just from the nature center to college and back. And it was obvious the signs, well, they looked like they were new. So good job.
Yeah, I cleaned the green dragonfly at the parking lot right by college. That was very satisfying. That one was very dirty, and the difference was, I think Morgan has before and after pictures that we're going to post, but we were both terrible about taking pictures, so we'll see what we got.
Oh, that's a great idea, though. Let's see, planning. Susie.
Well, the main thing is we and one intern session with people, and they seem to have just really responded to us. We've gotten a lot of feedback. In person Saturday, we just had, I don't know how many people, it looked like about 40, but it was probably more like about 20. But people were very interested in the new network plan, and job. Alex has done a superb job of getting that out to the public, so I think that's going very smoothly. Alex, how many more sessions do we have? Just the one more?
No, that's it. We've done our 2 virtual and 1 in person already.
Okay. So we'll just leave it open and see what it tells us, but more positive than negative from what I could tell. And aside from that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, let's see. Natural resources, Karen. You're muted.
You're muted.
Why don't I oh, there I am. Okay. I'm just giving an update on trails at Forest. Next, let's see, I'm not in charge. You are, Alex. I think everyone knows where Tallahassee Forest is. It's in the northwest of the county, and it's as large as Sandy Creek Nature Center in the Botanical Garden. Next is I'm waiting for Alex. The property is off of Tallahassee Road and across from Bernie Harris Lyons Middle School. And there's an entry area separated from a backcountry by utility easements. Next slide shows some of the restrictions placed on it by a conservation easement that permits low impact recreation. Next is a slide of design that Leisure Services Park Planning is working on There have been many updates since then, but it's the only map I found. Next slide is the backcountry. And that has a wilderness experience with diverse native natural habitats. Next slide. There's oak hickory forest covering 48% of the entire property. Next is a bottomland forest, which is almost 20% covered. There's Nat and a dog. It's amazing. Not too much privet, although that's beginning to take over, as is microstygium. There's a holly forest that covers 24%. And next is a perennial streams and springs that are running all year round or clear and recharge the middle Oconee. Next is I think it's a marsh, and that is a marsh as opposed to a floodplain or a it basically is green around standing water and is maintained by or created by beavers. It's a beaver marsh. Next is the mapping project. This is Walt's trail design, Walt Cook, for the backcountry. And it's a series of, it's 2 loops, one short, one much longer. I believe we've got a total of between 5 and 8 miles of foot trails. This is not including the old farm roads which exist today. The next slide is what Walt has been doing with help. There's Ross out, and that bright red ribbons or streamers are what we've been calling flags, and they are laying out the most environmentally interesting and safe and friendly trails. And the next slide shows Daniel from Leisure Services, who has been using GPS to map Walt's trails and get them accurate and on file so they won't disappear. Next is Walt raking in a trail. And so this will keep the ground clear, but it won't be a permanent trail. It's ephemeral. However, if you show the next one, you can see the kinds of folks who, as let's say, groups that are led by people who know the property have been able to visit. This is Ollie. The next one is Audubon. And the last one is a group of school children from Bernie Harris Lawrence. And that's the end of the slideshow. But basically, groups that are led and approved can now visit. There is a nice, good, safe, easy to follow trail system, as opposed to having to go just as the crow flies. And so that's where it's going. And I will hope that members of the commission will come out. I'll send out a meeting wizard and see which days you would like to come out in 3 hours on a very lovely property, and you'll see both the entryway where planning is going on for amenities, and then into the backcountry, the lower part where it's mainly a natural area. Cool. Come along. Thanks.
I want to, Karen, have you filled out the application for that walk yet?
No, and we have to talk to Mike. Does an application have to go in for a Greenway Commission walk?
Yes. We need to document all access to the property because there may be activities going on there that are dangerous. So we need to know who's on property.
Oh, can we get a quick turnaround? In other words, I'm asking Mike, how fast a turnaround can you give the Greenway Commission?
Trying to unmute is what I was trying to do. Sorry about that. The answer to the question is, as long as you had the last application form, and it included things like emergency response plan and who you're designating and all that kind of fun stuff. If you fill it out completely, like a day or two, and it should be fine.
Okay, great. Now, Ross has a report from Rock and Shoals.
Okay.
You have the PowerPoint, Alex?
So there's another PowerPoint. That was the only one I have downloaded. Is there a different one?
Daniel, I think, sent it to you.
Okay. Let me look real quick.
I just wanted to bring to your attention, I've talked to Mike about this too. Rock and Shoals is getting some camping activity. I had a few slides to show you. Observed out there. I happen to live near it, so I'm
not actually seeing a attachment.
Well, it's too bad. Okay, well,
I could probably give me a second. I can probably pull up the pictures at least because I know you copied me on when you sent those.
Yeah. Well, basically, I heard that there was some neighbors had heard people over there at night, and so I went over, and it was Halloween night actually. So I went over and looked at the site and found camping materials, undrunk beer, and campfires on the rock. No, that's not it.
That's my background. Since they're photos, I'm just going to drag them over to that screen.
Yeah. Okay. There's a can. Expand it a little bit, make it bigger. That's on the rock near. If you've been over at Rock and Shoals at all, that's up near where there was evacuation for mining, where there's some boulders that have been attempt to extract boulders and drill holes where they, I guess, were testing the granite for mining. But there was this campfire there, and of course some areas that fire had been pulled out to build a fire. There was a sleeping bag and some debris. And 18 bottles. There, by the way, I took ownership of that beer.
Confiscated.
Yeah. Well, I got permission from Mike to collect it. And some stuff just scattered around. There were 2 campfires are recent, and then there was one fairly old campfire site. The reason I put this out is the discussions I've had with Mike and others is that, as we all know, scarring on the site is a real potential problem because it takes a century for some of those ecosystems to form on those rocks. They start out as lichens, and then they become moss, and then vascular plants start moving in, and eventually a small shrub. So camping is probably not a good thing to have there, and I think that we definitely need to work with Mike and the county to see how we can deal with it.
That's a good bad picture.
Yeah. Fortunately, the scarring was not extensive. There's an example of scarring where rocks were moved, and in some places the moss pads were disrupted. But I just wanted the commission to see this, and any way we can support the county and the state with moving forward with this site would be good. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question. Any idea where they accessed it from?
I think from one of the back trails, it looked to me like they possibly came in from over near the trail that goes down toward the sewer treatment plant. But I'm not sure, man.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah,
Moving on.
Mike. Mike, do you have any plans for securing the site? You know, a fence, something before it becomes known as a great place to hang out and drink beer and camp and build fires?
All right, so you're asking a simple question with a complex answer. As you recall, my responsibilities are focused on managing the land. In this case, managing the land also overlaps tremendously with managing people, which has never, frankly, been solved at the commission level. The site was never formally opened. When it first was purchased in 2003, the proposal was to open the site up using a permit system. That proposal continued for several years until we were told basically don't submit it again. So there was actually never any funding allocated to the Rock and Shoals original site. And there was no operational funding other than land management that was allocated with the additional 71 acres of the site. We did have some plans preliminarily to address some of the access issues. For example, right now there is absolutely no signage that's even been put up. That's because of basically past administrations kicking it down the road. This current administration is very supportive of at least understanding what the scope of issues are. So that's one of the things we're looking at right now, is to try to understand that. And toward that end, I installed a trail cam at the entrance of the site just to get a feel for what's going on that, because there were some plans we were thinking about putting into place to help secure the front entrance and put some signage up. In the last 3 months, what we've noticed is the estimated use of the site is between 40 and 60 vehicles a week. It's between 3,000 and 5,000 people a year, and there's probably equal number of dogs, and 95% of them are off leash. We have collection going on that's not legal, of course, and messing around with stuff. And the state is, every time I communicate that or send photos out of what's been captured on the trail cam, I get oh my gosh, we got to do something, but I notice that no one's stepping up to do anything at this point. So we do have some plans to meet with folks and begin the process of addressing that issue to try to understand what it is. Like I said, we've got a current administration at the manager's office who wants to understand what we're dealing with and the scope of it. We're looking at the next budget year to see what we present. But it's a 20-year problem. It's a problem that was 17 years in the making, so I can't solve it overnight. Alex is working with me on how to address this and how to move forward. But it's a very complex question because it involves state and local government. It also involves 17 years of traditional use. And really, it was probably potential to put the genie back in the box to some extent prior to COVID. With COVID, I fully suspect that that's where the use just exploded and has become a problem now of not only dealing with what to do to protect the site, but then how do we manage people and what does that mean and what does that look like? Should we, and everything's on the table right now. Do we shut the site down and go to a permitted system like we have at Tallahassee and Beach Haven and Matthews Motors, or do we try to somehow open it up, which is then becomes Leisure Services headache? And what does that mean? Actually, both of ours, because they don't need to be doing and won't do anything. And I know that from that standpoint, that would compromise the integrity of the site. So it'd be trying to figure out what that looks like. So that's where we are. How about that for an answer that really isn't one?
Well,
It is in process.
It sounds like we might be able, as the Greenway Commission, to give it a little nudge, to write a letter, to move, maybe to support the mayor, and a letter of support to say this is an important resource area, and it's been receiving more and more traffic and without permission, and maybe a master plan has to come out or some stopgap measures. I know some rock outcrops actually have been fenced, and maybe in the short run, that's expensive, but that's an option. I don't see any other way of keeping people out.
And that's part of, I would suggest at this point that may be a little bit premature just because we're in the fact-finding stage of, I don't think anybody really understood the scope of it until we put the camera up. That's when I think it really became very, very apparent as to what level of use the site was receiving and the type of activities that we're seeing on the site that include I thought what looked like to be mushroom collectors and people walking out with some native plants. And, I have talked to people who have talked about capturing the rattlesnakes. And that's the other thing. People don't understand. There are active denning sites on that. They're walking right past them, or they camped right next to one. And they have little kids running through the tall grass without any knowledge that, there is something a little bit more. This is not like your typical natural area, and that we have a known population in that area. So I think we're still working right now with Athens-Clarke County. There's 4 departments that are involved that have questions and issues. As we kind of get better definition from those departments, we then have to involve the state and get their buy-in, because obviously they can have some influence over what happens next. So I would say give us a little while. Let us see what we put together. It was a long time getting to this point, so we can't. It'll be a little while to get out of this point. The encouraging part of it is that we have open interest and willingness to hear, and that's been missed in the past. But we do have an administration that is open and interested in understanding what needs to be done, even if we're limited on what our responses can be.
Well, around April is when everything is in bloom, and that might be a great time to bring the mayor and commission and people of influence out there to have a field trip. And then they will see what it is there, maybe have Linda Chafin, among others, accompany them. But, April is the day or the month when things are in bloom.
Well, I would suggest that we're there with the commission. This is the same group of people that approved less than a year ago, approved acquisition of 71 acres at more than twice the going rate.
Yes.
That valued the property that much. I've actually had a couple of them even talk to me about should people even be on the site. So, and in the background, you notice,
Yes.
that is Rock and Shoals. So we do have a lot of buy-in by the commission, and a lot of their concerns are that we take care of the site. So I believe it's a matter of getting us all together and putting information before them that allows them options to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we don't even have we don't have a good handle on even that of what are the options that are available, and then what are the costs associated with that. And as you'll see from tonight's commission meeting, there's the SPLOST is kind of blowing up as far as tiering and all of that. There's a lot of things going back and forth, and so there's a lot of discussion about funding around projects in general that's taking place right now.
Well, thank you, Mike, for really carrying this ball forward, because I think the last time I was out there with a commission, 3 years ago, and they were sort of interested, but
But Karen, you know what got them? What really attracted when I started talking about the frogs, they were really excited. And that's a February, March thing, and the cold and all those ephemeral streams. Boy, the thought of, I said, look, y'all got to come out here. They deafen you in the winter. And, if you've been out there in an evening, they are loud and they are everywhere. So that actually captured their attention.
Okay.
So frogs.
All right. Well, moving on. Appreciate it, Mike and Karen, and Rock and Shoals is obviously one of the gems that we have here in the county. Alex, what have you got?
We've been putting a lot of time into Greenway Network Plan input, as previously mentioned. So we've had 2 online versions that are both available. The recordings are available for people to watch. We've also got kind of a how-to tutorial. So I'm going to share with you all. Hopefully this is familiar to everyone here, but I just want to, again, hit it one more time. So this is our Leisure Services Listens webpage. I hear myself, and I'm going to try and mute somebody because of that. There we go. So this is our Leisure Services Listens webpage. You guys can see that this landing page takes you to all of our open projects, our big projects. So from here, we've got our North Oconee River our Greenway Network Plan update. Once clicked, you can see that this is where you can make access to the story map. It kind of rehashes some of the things we've talked about today, but again, we're taking that public input through the 29th online. By clicking that big orange button, you end up coming to the story map, which is the thing that Daniel has made. It looks great. This tells you what the plan is. But at the very, very end is this, and this, you guys can see this black line is kind of like chapters. So you're hitting chapters, and if you go to the very end, the very last chapter, or you scroll all the way to the bottom, same thing, you end up with a link, and that link takes you to the public input tool, which is right here. Give it a second to load, because I'm also, streaming this meeting. So this is what people will see. There are all 42 pieces of trail are available for comment that are not on the ground or are not funded, are not in their own set of public input. So Firefly out here in the Winterville area is black because it's on the ground. Firefly is gray right here because it is already planned and funded and has its own public input. But then if we pick, let's say, the Normal Town connector, there's a little write-up about it. And then we ask for people to click the comment. And once they do that, there is this form. People can comment on the same line over and over again. People can comment on different lines. So this is what we've been explaining to people. This is what is available until the 29th. If you would like to share it, again, it's Leisure Services Listens, and then you can kind of drive into it a little bit more. But we really want to encourage people to go there because there's also information about the future sections of Firefly and Greenway Trail, as well as our big master plan for the department that we're still working on. So anyway, if you submit that form, it brings you right back to this guy where you can see all the lines again and click them. You can click, okay, the McNutt's Creek, which again, this is the first time people have seen this, talking about following McNutt's Creek, kind of going around the south side of the county. So there's plenty of lines here for people to comment on. Again, the Greenway Network Plan this year and probably going forward will suggest alignments more than try and figure out exact areas. And I just want to hit home, just repeat that over and over again, that, if you're seeing this meeting or you see this map and you're adjacent to one of these trails, tell us if you like the idea of a trail through your neighborhood, not if you like the idea of the trail in your backyard, because anything that we're taking comment on in this is really very far out, future out. So I'm going to stop sharing that because, again, that's the biggest thing going on right now for us. We're getting ready for budget season within Athens-Clarke County. So all of our behind-the-scenes stuff that we do for budgets is about to go. Mike and I, he alluded to it. We're talking about ways to work together when asking for, submitting things for the budget process. Still got a ton of people using the trails, and we're just trying to keep up with it. It's lots of people out. It's great. They're out there, but with increased use is increased trash and increased eyes, and eyes are great because they tell us where the problems are. But we're also, we got a long list of all the problems that this tree limb here, or hey, I noticed that there was this part of the sidewalk shifted a little bit. So we're working to keep up with it the best we can. But it's great to see so many people out. It really is.
Good news. Thanks. Let's see. Moving right along. Sustainability Office. Mike, you got anything else? Mike, I think you're muted.
There we go. It took me just a second. A couple of quick things. Just wanted to let you know we had Audubon has planted they're working on a meadow at the corner of MLK and North Avenue. It's a little over 1/4 of an acre, and in the last 2 weekends, they planted over 2,000 plants. So we expect that meadow to start really taking hold this next year and come to life, and that's been pretty exciting to see that happen. And we also have started working, the GOSP grant, as you know, came through. We've started working on that, utilizing that grant, and we're beginning to really hit Dudley Park very hard for invasive plant treatment. And so we also will be working with what's called the ACOR crew. This is a CCC style workforce development crew that is being funded through the prosperity package by Athens-Clarke County. And they're coming on board. We're doing interviews now. We're in the process of doing interviews to hire the team. And as they get on and onboarded in early December, we expect for that team to start in Dudley Park. And one of their first jobs will be to help us whack all the invasive plants to the ground and start doing some actual work in Dudley Park. So we have a lot of stuff underway, and that's positive. So we're kind of excited. And that's it for me.
All right. Appreciate it. Let's see. Moving along. Planning. Mark.
Yeah, if I can just follow up on that point that Mike just made real quickly, just because it came to mind. I was wondering about signage out there, because I know the Oconee River Audubon Society is wondering about it, and I didn't know who did the signage for the pollinator stuff in the blocks around City Hall. Do you happen to know, Mike or Karen, by any chance? Is Mike still here?
There we go. Yeah, I got muted. I think they have actually designed the sign, and with that sign design, Alex, did I share that with you? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been approved for a while.
Yeah, I thought I'd send it through, and we just have to decide that it's time to install it and get the stand and get it installed. So that's the next stage. So yes, we are ready to install. I think what I was kind of waiting on is first the Audubon Society to say they're ready, and the second is to decide where they want to put their chip trail and seating arrangement. And once that's kind of set, that will also be, I think, where the sign would be located as well.
Okay.
Along with the Audubon's also going to donate a chimney swift chimney, so we're going to try to figure out a place to put that in that same area. So lots of pieces, but yes, that's what we're waiting on.
Yeah, if we can get that out of my shed, that'd be nice. From planning, I don't have a whole lot. Just so you all know, I know a few may have heard by now, but this is my last meeting with you all. I'm taking a new position in the city of Covington, and I wanted to thank you all for the work you do here and everything that goes on in the community. But with that being said, I just want to let you know you're probably going to be without a planner for a short period of time. I know the arborist position might take just a little while to fill. I think that my boss, Gavin Hassemer, is more than available if you guys need some planning staff at the meeting. And I believe he's going to get one of our current planners to fill in the role here as liaison from planning to Greenway. But that might be after the first of the year or something like that. So just a heads up to you all. If you've got some questions about projects that are coming through, please reach out to Gavin. Alex knows Gavin fairly well, I think. I'm sure Alex can get you some of the info too. But with that being said, planning had the Dudley Park just wrapped up their plans review here. So the pavilion should be getting set and ready to go from the planning and review end. And then also I think it's called Subproject 2. That's at least how it's listed in our work, which is the Oconee Hill Cemetery portion that got approved as well. So from the review side, those two items are squared away in the last week or two and able to then take their next steps, which probably falls back into Alex's court. But just thought I'd give you guys a heads up on that. Nothing coming before the Planning Commission in December, but go ahead, Alex.
Put you on the spot for a second. Burton, where's Burton in review right now?
I was told all three. Let me pull it up really quickly. I was told all the Greenway stuff was complete, and I think that probably includes Ben Burton.
Cool. Okay.
Let's see here. My computer actually kicked me out for leaving and told me I wasn't allowed to access anything earlier today.
That's cool.
They're
Don't
calling.
let it bog you down. That's fine.
Yeah. They're calling for one more revision, Alex.
Okay.
And that's related to the building, oddly enough. Okay. But yeah, we'll get that all sent over to you. The only other thing I was going to mention was just General Time, which is the large development up across from Terrapin Brewery, the old West Clocks facility. Went through its preliminary hearing at the Planning Commission, got a lot of great feedback. There's planned connections there along to the other side of the Greenway, which is, a future connection down the road for you all. And then the shared use path that goes down to Barber. So some interesting connections there. Would be a great, I don't know if it would necessarily be a terminus, because I know there's plans to get all the way up to Holland Park if possible, but would be a great location to get all that extended out to. So be mindful that that'll be coming back before the Planning Commission, probably before too long. It's not on the December agenda, but from the good comments I heard, I think that'll probably be back sooner than later after the first of the year. And that's all I've got from planning.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you for the liaison that you've been over the past few years. We appreciate it, and hate to see you leave, but anyway, we're grateful for your work.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks to you guys. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. Moving along, Athens in Motion. Do we have anyone from that program here? Or Jake, have you been involved with them recently?
Yeah, I'm the secretary.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So I think our last meeting, we spent a long time talking about the Greenway, or not the Greenway, I'm sorry, a multi-use path or sidewalk on Riverbend Road. It got very complicated because it's in two separate parcels, and there are different options and competing interests for each of them. So we're going to revisit that in our meeting next week. And we are continuing, building education and outreach efforts for that group. And we're also bike and pedestrian improvements there. So, and then we're going to talk about that in the next meeting. And then I think Barber Street is scheduled for January or February. So the work right now is really looking at all of the options for these tier 1 priority bike and pedestrian projects from the Athens in Motion master plan, and selecting those to make recommendations, just like this group does, to the mayor and commission. So that's what we're working on.
Good deal. All right. Let's see. How about you, Bruno or Diane? Hello, anybody out there?
Sorry. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Just took me a second to unmute. In terms of what UON is up to, just a couple of things. The first is congratulations to Diane. She is our new board VP since last meeting. So we're excited to have her. Peter Norris was our last VP, and he left the board in the spring, and just with COVID and everything, it took a little while to persuade Diane to step up to that position. But we're really happy to have her, and we are also doing a call for board members, which we're just recently getting sort of disseminated around. So if you guys are interested in helping us spread the word for not just board members but active volunteers on our 4 standing committees, that would be very welcome. We'd appreciate it a lot. So yeah, that's going on, as well as the MLK Day of Service. We are going to be returning in 2020 with Bag the Bag. We did a street cleanup actually on Barnett Shoals. They have a stretch of Barnett Shoals there that they clean up regularly. So we're going to be getting back together with them this year to do that. And we thought that it might be a good opportunity to loop in Greenway because of the recent developments with Carrs Creek in terms of, the connectability in that area. So we're welcome to you guys joining with us for it. It was real informal and a very nice group last time. So of course we will be mindful of COVID and social distancing, but Bag the Bag is enthusiastic, and we're sure that we can have a nice group of people and keep everybody separated and safe. Last time we did a little tutorial about Carrs Creek and its history and the water quality issues that are going on there and have been going on there for a long time. So if we wanted to have a Greenway outreach person sort of come and join in that and give a talk about Greenway, and it'd be a good outreach opportunity, I think, for you guys as well. So just be in touch with us, and we'll let y'all know. And Jake, thanks for the reminder that the application is due tomorrow, because I gotta get working on that.
I just submitted ours as we were talking.
Did we have to put in an application in 2019? Is that a new thing?
No, we did. It got extended eventually, though.
Okay, yeah, because I reached out to Cecile. I said, well, if you have our 2019 one, we can just tweak it and I can resubmit it. So she's pretty understanding, so I'm not too worried about it. And the only other thing that we're doing is we're doing our end of year fundraiser. So if you guys like coffee, then you can talk to Diane and I if you want to buy some coffee, and we will deliver it to your house. We're very flexible, and we can grind it for you. It's a really nice blend that Jittery Joe's put together for us about 5 years ago. It's very tasty, and yeah, so we use it as our sort of fall fundraising activity. And if you're interested, just reach out to me or Diane, and we will take care of you.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, y'all. Thanks for everything you do.
Well, thank you. Let's see. Firefly Trail, is Tom here or someone from the trail? I don't believe so. So we'll keep going. Bike Athens, Scott, have you got anything?
Here, can I, Scott, real quick for Firefly?
Oh, sure.
There will be another set of public input for Firefly Phase 3, which is the from the trail on the ground in Winterville to Hancock Road to the part where it's already cleared, masticated, wide open, soon. So keep your eye on that Leisure Services Listens website. I can't speak to Firefly outside of the Clarke County, but that section, there's been a lot of conversations about alternates and possibilities. And so just be aware there will be another thing coming back out. Sorry, Scott, my bad.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing I had was that myself and Jason Perry from UGA Sustainability were out on Sunday in Dudley Park. We filmed a video using the repair stand, sort of a how to fix a flat.
Cool.
So we're working on getting that sort of narrated and finished. We noticed that the pin in the middle of the pump head was missing. It doesn't, it makes it work. It works, but it doesn't work great. Jason replaced the pin this morning, but we're still recommending that it be replaced with the SARS pump heads. Alex and I had talked about this already. I don't know if you can see, this is all of the ones at UGA that Jason has been replacing. These are all the Darrow heads. We love the Darrow pump. We just think that the heads are, for some reason, they're just not great. That's all I got.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just say we are going to be replacing all the one. I think we're up to 6 now. We will be replacing them with that style that you sent over.
All right. That's all we've got. We've got our final meeting for the year coming up next month. And but before we adjourn, are there any other questions or comments? We very much appreciate everybody's time and involvement, and we will see you next month, if not before. Thank you. We are adjourned. Bye.